Hey, so we're continuing with the verse which follows the one in our last video. The last video, just a recap, is about the story of the monk Chakupala, and it tells us how suffering will follow the evildoer. Today, we're talking about something very happy. It's about how happiness follows the doer of good, and it's the story of Mattakundali. Let's read the verse first. Mine precedes all knowables. Mine's their chief. Mine made are they. If with a clear and confident mind one should either speak or act, happiness follows caused by that, as one's shadow never departing. Isn't that great? Happiness follows you, never departing. So, what is the story connected to this? This is a story about a youth called Mattakundali. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. So he's a youth born in a Brahmin family. Therefore, his family was quite well to do. However, his father was a very miserly man. And we're talking about miserly beyond the normal type of frugality here. He would scrimp and save and avoid all forms of spending money when he could avoid it. So even when his son was very ill, he put off calling the physician until the 11th hour, which by then was a bit too late. All right, so this family was so particular. They never gave charity, they never, made any donations or gave any alms because these were unnecessary spending. And they didn't want other people to know how much possessions they have. So what Mattakundali's father did was he put him out on the veranda, let his ill and dying son, lie on the veranda so that if people came to the house to see him, maybe pay their last respects, they wouldn't enter the house and see all the possessions that were in the house. This was how particular and calculating his father was. Yeah, so the poor youth was just lying on the veranda and knowing he would one day expire soon. So one morning, the Buddha woke, and through his powers from all this meditation that he has actually done, he could see that there was this youth lying on the veranda, and this youth, Mattakundali, was about to die. Buddha, with his compassion, knew that this youth was actually quite a good person, and he wanted to help this youth attain a good rebirth. So he decided that day when he went into town for his alms round together with his monks, he made his way to the house of Mattakundali. So as he was passing by, he walked in front of the house, and this youth was lying on the veranda, but he was so ill. The poor youth was so ill. He couldn't get up and he couldn't even speak. He was facing towards the interior of the house. So he wouldn't really know if anybody was walking by. So the Buddha used his powers again and caused some glow or light to attract Mattakundali's attention. And Mattakundali knew who was passing by. It was the Buddha and his monks. So Mattakundali wanted to pay his respects and show his devotion to Buddha. But he couldn't move, he was too weak to talk. So all he could do was just, with the determination, devotion, and concentration mentally in his mind, he gave his full dedication to the Buddha. He thought of good thoughts about the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and he made his aspiration known mentally. So the Buddha, with his psychic powers, knew whatever Mattakundali had said without speaking. And shortly after this, the poor youth Mattakundali passed away from his illness, and he was reborn in the celestial realm. This was a very fortunate and good realm to be born in, and he attained this rebirth especially because of the last few moments of his life when he made this firm aspiration to be good and to follow the teachings of the Buddha Dhamma. So he saw that his father in his previous life as a human being was at the cemetery, and he made himself appear in front of the father in his previous form. Even though he was already a celestial being with the nice celestial decorations, they would take a different form. But in order for his father to recognize him, he took on the form of his previous human self. And he appeared in front of the father and told the father that he had been reborn in the celestial realm, that he was doing okay. There was no need for the father to feel sad about his passing. And on top of that, he encouraged the father to approach the Buddha and invite the Buddha to the house for a meal, because he wanted the father to do some good rather than be so miserly and never give a free meal to somebody. So the father organized this meal and invited the Buddha as well as other people to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. That way, he could actually gain merits for himself and the family, which was Mattakundali's intention. So during this teaching, somebody asked the Buddha, is it really possible that someone who has never done any charity, meaning Mattakundali, can actually be reborn in the celestial realm just because of his mental devotion and aspiration? Now, Mattakundali was not a person who would scream and save, but his father was. Therefore, being the son of the family, he could not very well go out and give money away to charity. He would definitely need to follow his father's instructions. And everybody knew the family never did any charity. So in their mind, they would think, if someone from this family can be reborn in the celestial realm, anybody can, right? Is it so easy to be reborn in the celestial realm? Such a fortunate place to go to. So the Buddha actually told them, yes, it is possible. If with your pure intention and strong devotion, you can be reborn in the celestial realm. So the intention, the mind's intention, is most important. You could be giving to charity, but with some ulterior motives, right? You could be thinking like, I want my name plastered all over this wall as the largest donor. I want, to show off to my friends that I'm such, a generous person, very involved in charitable works. So this is actually more like a PR activity rather than your own pure intention to do good. Mattakundali never gave any donations or alms, but his intention was pure. His mind, his devotion was sincere, and therefore he was more or less rewarded, if you could consider it a reward, by being able to be reborn in a celestial realm. So, no matter what people do, look beyond their actions, check their intention. All right? Follow for more stories. Okay, see ya.